there. Welcome to our show, Coasting into Retirement with my friend Gary Marriage. He is founder and president there. They have offices in Florida, but wherever you're viewing this, of course, you can get some guidance from Gary and our team. And Gary, I just want to talk real quick about just the fact that so many people come to you with questions wherever you are. So where's the strangest place you've gotten questions?
I don't know. I mean, it's all the time. I can be at the restaurant. I can be in a totally different state. I can be on vacation, and somebody's gonna ask me something off the wall. I mean, just even the past weekend, just being on the boat, right? Just
Yeah.
trying to woosah, trying to relax. You never get to
Yeah.
shut off when you own your own business, or you do what I do for a living. Everybody wants stock ticks. What's the next stock that's getting ready to jump by 80 to 100%?
Right.
Well, here's a few that I'm picking right now that I'm doing with myself.
Wow,
things like that.
funny. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's anywhere. I mean, I've been in, Mason got hurt his arm and was at the hospital, getting him x-rays
Was
and
that
stuff too.
recent? Was that recent?
Yeah. And then one of the ladies behind the desk and stuff, was getting my information, and I put down what I have to do for a living, occupation and stuff. She
Right.
goes, "You're a financial guy. I don't ask you stuff about this pension fund 401k we have.
No.
You help me pick some stuff." Yeah.
And you're at the emergency room with your son. Now that's pretty
it.
funny.
Yeah, called me back
Yeah.
up to the front desk, and I thought we were getting ready to go to the back room, and she's asking me questions about, her 401k. Yeah, it happens,
Yeah.
right?
So she needs to discount his bill. She needs to discount Mason's
No,
bill,
yeah,
right?
that would be
We're getting
nice.
some advice from you.
How about you don't even have to discount it, just get us in earlier. I don't want to
There
sit
you
there for
go.
45 minutes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but if I'm there,
Oh,
if
my.
I can help somebody, I'll help them out. It's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
glad I can do it.
Well, good for
Yeah.
you because you're just that kind of a person.
Mhm.
But we're going to dig into our Coasting into Retirement mailbag right now. So we have questions for you, Gary, and, of course, very common retirement questions. I'm sure you get these all the time. This first one is from Dave, and he says,
Okay.
my company is offering an early retirement package. It seems generous, but taking it means I'd be retiring 5 years sooner than I had planned. I'm tempted, but also nervous about making the numbers work for the long haul. How do I evaluate if this is a golden ticket or a financial trap?
It could be one or the other, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I've seen some of these pension companies doing this lately, and they're giving them like an early buyout. But what's happening is they're not allowing them to get the lump sum and retire. They're making them take it as a pension fund, right? And those pension funds, they only grow at like 1 or 2%. So yeah, they would get like an early, release, if you will, and they'll start paying them their pension. But then that pension fund's not really growing at all
Yeah.
anymore.
No way is it keeping up with inflation.
No, definitely not. And then, what we're discovering is like, okay, so like in Dave's situation, if he waits 5 more years, then I can show him, here's, what you'll get in 5 years as well. But here's where you'll be able to take the whole pot and run away and get the, the whole bucket, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Then you can roll
yeah.
that, put it into anything you want, and then just take distributions or take money out of that as you need it, for retirement. And then the rest of it will grow into whatever we decide to put it into, right? So there's a lot of things like that that we got to check out too. And then also your expenses and, your taxes, all the other
Right.
fun stuff that we have to do as well. But
Sure.
but those are things you got to watch out for inside of those pension funds, and watch that trap that they might set for you too.
Right. So what we want you to do, Dave, is give Gary and our team a call. And you can do
Yeah.
that. You can click the link below. You can call the number. Our number is 352.
888.
I'm looking over to my side here. My paper bent a little bit, but
you're
but anyway, yeah, definitely, Gary. I know you would love to help him out.
Sure.
All right. Next question in our Coasting into Retirement mailbag is from Shelly. She says, my husband and I just sold our business for a significant amount of money. It's the first time we've had this level of wealth, and honestly, it's a bit overwhelming. We want to be smart about it. What's the very first thing a new millionaire should consider doing with this money?
That's awesome. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been $1 million plus, right?
Yeah.
The first thing I would do is what I do with everybody that I find out when they just sold their business is, have you figured out how much you're going to pay in tax on the business, right? Especially what type of business was it? I just worked with a company in Nevada, and they had a Bell fleet. They had a fleet of Bell helicopters, right? And they did a lot of like tours and stuff. They would, take people on tours and stuff, and those things that you do in Vegas and you have fun, right?
Sure. Yeah.
They sold that company, and come to find out, all their deductions that they had taken over those years of owning that company, getting tax deductions, writing off the helicopters, all the fleet, all the equipment, all that stuff. When they sold their business, all that comes back, and you got to pay tax on it. And they didn't know it. Okay.
Oh, no.
So there's a possible chance that might be happening with Shelly, I guess it was as well. I don't know. So that would be my first question. If they're already past that, then okay, good. What do we do? Well, we're going to structure that, put in something. Let's find out what's the best way for what is it y'all want to do. Are you going to travel now the world and go have fun? How much income you're going to need off this? What's your basic expenses that you're going to need to cover? And then let's put like a plan together and maybe portfolios that my investment team can build for them and show them growth and stuff and how they take money out of that and stay millionaires for as long as they want to be, right?
The rest of your life. Yeah. Maybe
fun.
pass on some money to the kids and the grandkids.
Yes. And let's, possibly multimillionaires at that point. At the same time.
Pretty
cool. I don't really have a whole lot of people want to leave a lot of money to the kids though anymore, Luann. Most of them want to bounce the last check on the way out, it sounds like.
I know.
Anymore.
Well, in our case, my husband and I, we're like, they're doing fine. My son is a doctor. My daughter is married to a pilot. So they have good incomes. They don't need anything. Yeah. So we can spend our money. We get to spend
have fun with it. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next question. This is from Brian, and he says, I retired last year. My wife plans to work for another 2 years. We've always filed our taxes jointly, but now that my income is different, I'm wondering if we should consider filing separately. Would that make sense for us?
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how much income she's getting though too, right? For both of y'all. And, what are you going to access or what are you going to pull money from retirement? Is her income enough to carry all your expenses? There's a lot of questions I need answered on that. But what's cool, what we do is we can show you, we do tax planning. Okay. So I can easily show him, here's a joint tax return and here's if you file separately. Right. And we do this for a lot of people too, especially if they have businesses or another spouse has, a lot of income or something like that too. We might file them separately. Everybody's kind of different, but it's really cool. With a few clicks, I can go click and show you, here's what your individual tax return looks like if you file separately. Here's what it is jointly too. And you can see the difference in how much you're going to pay or how much you're going to save in taxes by doing that.
Mm-hmm. See,
Pretty
that's
cool.
it. I love that you guys can do that. You can show them a scenario. If this, then it'd look like this, or if we do this, it'd look like this. So, I think Brian needs to give you a call. Click the link below, Brian. Yeah, and go in for that retirement CAT scan. So, I love that you do that. That retirement CAT scan, explain that again, Gary, please.
So it basically walks you through, how to build an income plan. Like we're going to set up, make sure your income is solid to cover all the expenses that you have, plus the trips, vacations, and those smiley faces that you have show up at the front door or the mailbox every single month or week, right? Those Amazon packages, but really kind of forecast everything out, but then see how much you're paying in taxes. Is there something you can do to reduce those taxes? Make sure you're getting all the deductions that you're supposed to get. Are you taking income from the wrong buckets? Is your money dying? Is it not making enough money? Here's how it can make, maybe twice, 2 to 3 times as much guaranteed, right? And then how is your retirement structured is basically, God forbid something happens to you. Do you have estate planning, right? So I have attorneys and things to help out people and make sure they got their wills and their trusts and all that stuff done too. It's just basically anything in retirement. We're here to help you. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, you get this retirement CAT scan by clicking our link below. Here's our phone number, too. You can call this. You could even text the word VISIT if you prefer texting, 352-888-5851. And Gary and our team at Nature Coast Financial would love to give you some guidance on retirement. You have questions, they have answers. So Gary's answering questions for us today in our Coasting into Retirement mailbag. And here's another question for you, Gary. This is from Christy. She says, we have one son who was very responsible with money and another who isn't. I know you've heard this before. We want to leave them an equal inheritance, but we're worried one will blow through his share in a few years. Is there a way to structure a trust or inheritance to provide for him over his lifetime rather than giving him a lump sum?
Absolutely. It's something that we do daily, right? It's one that we call in the office a Miss Brenda trust. Okay. So I had a client named Miss Brenda, same situation. She had two daughters. One was very good financially. The other one was in and out of rehab. Right. And
Oh,
her biggest
no.
fear was her daughter
Oh,
was going to blow all her inheritance
right.
through her nose. Right.
Sure,
And she was just
sure.
going to be a bad shape.
So
So what we
sad.
did was we structured the trust to where it was going to pay out like a salary to her. Right. And then we
Mhm.
made it to where the payments would come to her, monthly or annually, however Miss Brenda wanted to set it up. But I came up with this strong idea. I was like, what if we make it equal to her salary? So, if she doesn't work, she really gets nothing, right? Cleans up her
Right,
act
that's
and
good.
starts working and starts generate more income, then she'll get more money out of the trust, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of ways that we can design these trusts that's really beneficial, for, their daughter or your sons,
Yeah.
right? Too. So one of them
Yeah.
that's not great with money, but just making sure
Mhm.
that, they're getting structured payments so they're not just getting a whole lump sum at one time and
Yeah.
then just blowing it. Right.
Right.
So
How
yeah, a
scary.
trust is
Yeah.
really that one asset that makes sure that it's gonna go to those either somebody a certain way that you want, and it's structured
Right.
that way, and it's always gonna be that way. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
I
I
love them.
love that. Do
Yep.
you have to have a lot of money to create a trust? Is there
No, you just have to
Okay.
have money that you wanna leave some way, some to somebody a certain way.
Okay.
That's basically
Okay.
it, right? You don't have
Yeah.
to be a multi-millionaire, right?
Yeah.
You can have
Okay.
50 grand and want it to go to somebody or, if this person's not here, then it's gonna go to this person. If that person's not there, it's gonna go to this person, right? It's all
Okay.
structured that way, and it's
Okay.
super simple. Most of these
Good.
things can be done in 30 minutes to an hour, right? Depending on how
Yeah.
complicated your life is. It's just
That's
who
nice.
gets it, how do they get
Right?
it, when do they get it? That's
Yeah.
usually the three questions that I need answered, and then we can
Okay.
draw it out that way. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Excellent. Very good. Okay,
Mhm.
another question is from Steve, and he says, I have been a disciplined saver my whole life, and we have a healthy nest egg. But now that I'm actually retired, I'm finding it psychologically impossible to write checks from my savings. I feel like every dollar I spend is a dollar closer to being broke. How do I switch my brain from saving to spending mode without the anxiety?
Yeah, so maybe he needs to create like some type of pension fund, or right, or
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
just monthly deposited in his checking account, from his investment accounts or however he's got his money set up. And I have a lot of clients this way because they were so used to getting every 2 weeks getting a paycheck, right? And they used that paycheck for that next 2 week period, and that's what they lived on. And then they knew next week they were going to get another check, and then they would spend it during that time. And that's kind of how they lived life.
Yeah.
So we've structured those that way too for people, and they're more comfortable that way versus getting a monthly check and they're like, okay, now I got 30 days to spend through this money. And then usually by about day 20 they're like, oh my gosh, I still have 10 days left in the month, and I'm stressing, and I've got less than $800 in there, and I don't know how I'm going to carry this for the next week or two. All right.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just kind of finding out like really how that person's wired, and then just making sure that your money's keeping up with your expenses too. Maybe you're spending too
Mhm.
much. All right.
Yep.
Maybe the payments you're paying are credit card payments, and you're getting charged 20-30% on some of these things too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're paying that kind of interest rates, your money's not keeping up with that probably either. Right. At the same time,
Right.
unless you're lucky and picking a few hot stocks here and there, but
Yeah.
that's not sustainable. So that's
Right.
where we probably got to put a budget in place for them as well.
True. But
Yeah.
we definitely want you to spend your money in retirement, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Have fun
thing.
with it.
Get used
Yeah.
to it, have fun with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Next question is from Rich. He says, my daughter and her husband are looking to buy their first home, but with interest rates where they are, the monthly payments are a stretch for them. I have the liquidity to pay cash for the house and let them pay me back at a lower rate. Is becoming the family bank a good legacy planning move or a recipe for disaster?
Yes, it could be both. So
Mhm.
that's a great thing if you're blessed to do that for your kids, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
especially if you can do that and it doesn't affect you whatsoever and you're never going to use that money, then it's okay. I would still get something in place like a legal document that shows that they need to pay you that back, right? But I've found a lot of people that fell into that trap, or taking care of the kids or buying stuff for them too, and then they just never get paid back, and then now they're stretched and stressed financially, and they're
Right.
trying to get money back from kids, and the kids aren't doing it right. So yeah, it can be, but the problem is there though too is um, you know, sometimes things in your name will pass to the kids and they get it on a stepped up basis, or so like tax treatment purposes, things like that too, is like I like discuss with people and show them, here's, instead of you just buying the house, here's, buying it in your name and then you leaving it to them. taxes are much differently that way too, right? So everybody's unique
More? Are you saying they're
situation.
more?
They could be, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, they're going outside of the estate. So they're just taking the money and pulling it outside their estate, and then it's like gifts and things like that too that you got to worry about. So it's not just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm just going to buy you a house and everything's going to be fun and easy, and then you find out, oh, well, there's exclusions for that. There's,
Right.
tax
Yeah.
treatments for that though too.
Right.
Yeah, a
Okay.
couple more
So be
questions you
careful
have.
with that and get some guidance on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Next question from Joy. She says, I keep hearing about required minimum distributions. I turned 73 this year. Frankly, we don't need the income from my IRA to cover our living expenses. Do I absolutely have to take the money? And if so, or if I do, is there a way to take it out without getting killed on taxes?
So yeah, they force you to take that out before December 31st. So the year that you turn 73, you got to take out that money before the end of the year. So yes, you have to. If you don't do it, it's a 25% penalty if you do not take it. So I would recommend you take it. That's a pretty hefty penalty, right?
Yes.
Now, how to take it without getting killed in taxes? If you don't need the income, especially if you're charitable, okay, you can actually give your RMD to a church or charities, and you don't pay taxes.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's one thing that you could probably do. And there's about a million other things you can do too. So I don't know without going through all the details with them. But that's just a simple thing you can do. It's called a QCD. It's a qualified charitable distribution. So we can figure out how much you're going to, what your threshold is for your taxes. And if you're over it by 5 or 10 grand, we can say, okay, let's just give 5 or 10 grand to the church or charity, have it go directly from your IRA, directly to that church. You won't pay any tax on it, but it's still going to qualify and count as your
Wow.
RMD. It's pretty cool.
There you go. I love that. That's a great
Mhm.
idea. You don't
Yeah,
need the money,
we do
and
a lot.
maybe you're already giving to a charity anyway. Yeah, do it
Yeah.
this way.
Most
Yeah.
people are giving money to churches and charities, and they're doing it from their checking account, right? Or they're pulling the money out of their IRA, they pay tax on it, and then they put it in their checking account, and then they write a check to the church charity, and they're getting a deduction of maybe $600 a year at max, right?
Right.
But if they do it another way, and I'm trying to show you, there's another way of giving the money that way. You don't pay any tax on it, and it still counts. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Excellent. Okay. Very good. All right. We have one last question for you, Gary. This is from Brett. He says, we have lived in the same neighborhood for 30 years. We have a great circle of friends, but our grandkids just moved 2 states away. My wife wants to sell the house immediately and move to be near them, but I'm worried we'll be lonely without our social network. Have you seen other retirees regret moving just to be near the grandkids?
Yes. Because frankly, the grandkids have lives too, right? And they may want to go to different places or they want to hang out later, right? Most grandkids want to stay out past 10 o'clock, maybe
Yeah.
11 o'clock, maybe past midnight, right? And the
Yep.
grandparents don't want to stay out that late or,
No.
they want to go do some things. So, yeah, I've had a lot of clients regret that, definitely, especially too, because now
Yeah.
they don't have any people in their neighborhoods or something too, because maybe the grandkids live in a younger community at the same
Sure.
time. So,
Right.
maybe what you could do though is test it out. You can find an Airbnb near your grandkids and rent that for a month or 2 before you sell
Like
your
that.
house,
Yeah, I like that
and
idea. Yeah.
test it out. There
Yeah.
you go. That might save
Okay.
you a
Very
lot of
good.
headache and stress.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
son lives, several states away, and when we go there, we see these cool houses. We're like, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun to have one?" But I think we couldn't buy a second house, of course, but maybe do an Airbnb, especially
Yeah.
when we go there to watch their sports and stuff as they get older.
I love Airbnbs. I mean, I use them
Yeah.
all the time now for
Yeah.
travel and stuff. And a lot of times I can get a house for the same price I could get a hotel for. Or
Right?
sometimes vice versa. It's
Mhm.
less expensive for me to get an Airbnb than it would be for a hotel room.
That's crazy. That's a good way to go. So that's a great
Yeah.
idea. Test the
Yeah.
waters out before you
That's it.
actually move, before you actually move. Yeah. So, Gary,
Absolutely.
thank you
Yeah.
so much for
Yeah.
answering these mailbag questions. If you have a mailbag question, you can certainly send them in to Nature Coast Financial. So, Gary, I know you love answering these questions. Thank you so much, Gary.
I do. Thanks for everybody listening to the show this week. Yeah, any questions or anything about retirement, click the links below and jump on a Zoom with us. We'll help you answer any questions you have. And hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you next time.